Good morning, brothers and sisters. I hope you're doing wonderful today. Sorry there was no video yesterday. I did actually make the video. I just wasn't happy with the content. It was rushed. It was horrible. It was not the quality of work that I wanted. So I ended up deleting it. And I don't know, yesterday was a horrible day. A lot happened, and it really made yesterday a bad day. So I'm redoing the video and better content. And so let's get started. One thing, next week, Wednesday and Thursday, I will be doing no videos. I'll be out of town. I'm going to spend time with my family, and I will have a video Tuesday prepared, but Wednesday and Thursday I am going to Pocatello to visit my family. It's my mom's 76th birthday, and so her and I are gonna go to the temple. This is the first time, I don't even remember, I think since 2010 that we've been able to attend the temple together. And that's when I took out my temple endowments, was in 2010. And so this is going to be the first time that we've got to go to the temple together and enjoy it. Give me one moment. I just got a notification on my computer that my computer is almost dead. Okay, so do this. Okay, there. I think my computer is now charging. Yep. Okay, there. All right, so yeah, that's my big announcement for now. Wednesday and Thursday will be no videos. I'll be back Friday with another video. So, and my computer's finally catching up that I just plugged it in. That's what you get when you work with ancient technology. So, all right. With that, today we are in 2 Nephi chapter 13. Isaiah is continuing prophesying of the destruction of Jerusalem and southern Israel, or the kingdom of Judah. Because remember, by Isaiah's time, Israel was broke up into northern Israel and southern Israel, and southern Israel was just basically called the kingdom of Judah, because they were the main people there trying to control everything. They were in charge, and the Ephraimites of those days were rebellious. They were proud. They separated from Judah, and later we learned that they are carried away into the north, carried away many places. All right, so let's continue. So verse 1, Isaiah is prophesying, saying that the Lord of hosts doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff, the whole staff of bread and the whole stay of water. Now, this is a reference to a coming famine, physical famine, but it's also going to be a spiritual one. the staff of God and the water, living water, is being taken away, and it explains later on how that will happen. And then here, where is it? The mighty man, verse 2, the mighty man and the man of war, the judge and the prophet, and the prudent and the ancient, the captain of the 50, and the honorable man, and the counselor, and the cunning artificer, and the eloquent orator. These are all gone. These are going to be led away. Notice who was in there? The prophets. They will be taken from Jerusalem. And that's where the spiritual famine comes in. You got to realize, the Hebrews at this time are rebelling against God. And so this is what happens when you rebel against God. And we're seeing it today. As America rebels against God, this is what's happening. So if you could, in a way, look at how this applies to us. Remember, Nephi says to liken the scriptures unto us. And that's what we need to do. And then he says, I will, in verse 4, he says, I will give children unto them to be their princes, and babes shall rule over them. So in other words, it's only going to be the most base of people. This is going to be people that have no idea how to run a kingdom. These are probably, simple farm folk. And I like in verse 5 he says, and the people shall be oppressed, everyone by another, and one by his neighbor, and the children shall behave himself proudly against the ancient, and the base against the honorable. Now, we see this today. We've seen this for a couple generations now. Everyone's oppressing their neighbors. Everyone is, and this is what happens when we start forgetting the Lord, is the wicked will start oppressing people. The righteous never will oppress people. It's contrary to the kingdom of God. The child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient. Now, we've all seen these videos. There's one that's really gets under my skin, where this daughter's yelling at her mother because her mother forgot to charge her phone. The charging of the phone was the responsibility of the child, but yet she's yelling at the mother. These kids nowadays don't have the level of respect. I'm sure when I was a kid, the same thing could be said about my generation, that we didn't have any respect for our elders. But this is a new level. I mean, there's videos out there, just unbelievable how children behave. There's one video I watched. I think the son refused to go get a job, and all he did was play the Xbox that his father bought him, and took all his games. He wasn't doing his school, and his father took his games, his Xbox, took it out of the yard and rode over it with a lawnmower. Yeah. So we need to teach our children. And again, I'm coming from a non-parent. I've never been blessed with children, and at 50 years of age now, I don't see it happening. I'm not worried about it. But We need to teach our children to respect our elders. We need to teach them to honor their mother and their father. And it didn't help that my generation, the Generation X, for the most part, we screwed up as parents. We've caused these monsters. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll lose a few subscribers because I'm being too... I think we should call out what it is. And I will do that. Let's see here. Let's see here. Verse 6 is a good one. And a man shall take hold of his brother of the houses of his father, and shall say, Thou hast clothing, be thou our ruler, and let not this ruin come under thy hand. That's a big demand. So if someone had clothes, I guess that was how they wanted to decide who would be ruler. But then they'd throw in their thing saying, but don't let the ruin, everything bad happen because of you. You have to make sure it's all right. No. Okay, now we get into some good stuff here. For Jerusalem is ruined and Judah is fallen, because their tongues and their doings have been against the Lord, to provoke the eye of his glory. Their actions were against the Lord. And we're seeing some of the stuff they're doing. And they're provoking the eyes of the glory. In other words, they're provoking the wrath of God. And in verse 9, he says, the show of their countenance doth witness against them. In other words, how they appear, how they're looking, is an offense against God. And doth declare their sin to be even as Sodom. Do we remember what Sodom was guilty of? Yeah. Immoral behavior. And they cannot hide it. Nothing's going to be hid from the eye of God. God sees everything we do, everything we say. He hears it. He sees. We cannot hide anything from God. Woe unto them, unto their souls, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves. In other words, they're the cause of what's going on and bad in their lives. And we see the same thing. The sin of Sodom and Gomorrah are becoming more and more prevalent today with OnlyFans, Cornhub. These sites are just fueling Satan's power. They're destroying our society. There's a Hindu verse in the Bhagavad Gita that I love. I'm going to try and remember it because it's been years since I've read the Bhagavad Gita. Not coming to my head. It's something about the women and ruin. I'll have to look it up, and I'll try and remind you later. All right, so let's continue. Let's see. Woe unto the wicked, for they shall perish, for their reward of their hands shall be upon them. And again, the wicked are what's causing all manners of destruction. When people follow God, when they follow the prophets, the people prosper. God causes prosperity to come upon them because they are following our prophet. And at this time, the prophets Isaiah, and remember, this is future destruction as well. This is at the time of Lehi that all these are going to be fulfilled. And I don't know if Nephi realized when he was putting this in that it was being talked about, that this is being fulfilled even as he is, when the Book of Mormon starts, but it's happening at his very time. And here in verse 12 it says, and my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they who lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths. Well, I think I'll leave that one alone for a while. Let you guys think about what you think of it. The Lord will enter his judgment with the ancients of his people, and the princes thereof. For ye have eaten up of the vineyard, and the spoil of the poor in your houses. Still, oppression of the poor it's never good. We see the poor being oppressed now. Taxes are getting worse. Rent and mortgage is going up. It's not easy today to live. Let's see here. Okay, starting at 16, he's going after the daughters of Zion, and rightfully so. Let's go ahead and see what he's saying. He says, moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, making a tinkling with their feet. Yeah, the women, as Isaiah is explaining, haughty, walking with stretched forth necks. These are women that are proud, not proud as in something, a good thing. Let's see if I could do this. But it's God doesn't want proud people. God wants humble people. Proud people aren't teachable. Proud people aren't covenant people. Proud people, they don't want the things of God. They want what they want. And sorry. Let's go to verse 18. In that day, meaning the day that Jerusalem and Judah will fall, the Lord will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments and cowls and round tires like the moon. the chains and the bracelets, the mufflers, the bonnets, the ornaments of the legs, and the headbands, and the tablets, and the earrings, the rings, nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles, and the wimples. We have to look up what a wimple is. That is an interesting word. And the crisping pins, the glasses, and the fine linen, and hoods, and the veils. All this is going to be going away. And today we are seeing this as well with the women in the church. So, like I said, liken the scriptures to ourselves. I see more and more women in the church dressing inappropriately after church. In fact, this is one thing that caused my oldest brother to go inactive, and to this day he has not returned to the church. On Sunday when we would go, we would see them dressed in this beautiful modest clothing, and the next day they're dressing with skirts so short that there was times we could see people's and very inappropriate behavior. And that again is because of parents allow this stuff. The standard of the Lord and the standard of the world will always be in opposition. The world says dress as you want. It doesn't matter if you're I'm trying to think of words that I can actually use, because I don't know which words I can, if they are looked at as a just an item for men to lust after because of their dress. That's not good. And there's two camps here right now. One is men should learn to control their desires. And then there's women need to learn how to dress modest. And both of them are right. But they're refusing to see the other side's point. We men, we must control our urges. We must control our thoughts, our actions. But at the same time, the women do need to dress more modestly. A covenant-keeping man doesn't want to be with a woman who is dressing inappropriately, more interested in worldly things, on putting on way too much makeup. Me personally, women can wear basic makeup and that's happy with me. I love a woman who is naturally beautiful. And when I'm saying beautiful, it's a beauty for me and not a worldly standard of beauty. I don't care for that stuff. But there will come a time when those things are taken away. We need to live a simplicity life. That's me. All right, let's continue. But now, as I read this, I'm like, near the end, there feels like there is something missing. And I don't know if this was the original design. Let me pull up. I want to pull up Isaiah. Because remember, chapters and verses weren't part of the original Bible. They were added later. And give me 1 second. Isaiah chapter 3. Yeah, it does it here too. So let's go here. The men shall fall by the sword, and the mighty in the war. And her gates shall lament and mourn, and she shall be desolate, and shall sit upon the ground. Now, her gates is Jerusalem personified, okay? Meaning Jerusalem's gates will lament and mourn. She'll be desolate, empty. But it's also talking about verse 25, men will die. But I feel like verse 26 here and verse 1 in chapter 4, I personally believe verse 1 of chapter 4 should have been left there, because it's literally just a continuation. It actually makes more sense than breaking it into chapters. But the people who created these did it for a reason, and it's beyond me. So let's see here. There was something I wrote. I'm seeing if it's still, see if it's been brought in yet. All right, so it's all right. So since it's not coming in, let's have a look. Where is it? Okay. Here it is. So I had written something in my notes, but it didn't come through yet for some weird reason. But it's from this, I liked this. It's from the Book of Mormon Reference Companion. As I was reading this, the latter-day applicability really stuck out to me, and I want to read it to you guys. It says, this chapter warns Latter-day Saint Covenant people that the Lord will not allow them to prosper in wickedness. It particularly warns that they must avoid pride, vanity, selfishness, worldliness, and oppression of the needy. It should remind them that true joy is found in trusting in the Lord's plan of happiness and the Lord's covenants, for the worldly, selfish avenues one might pursue will pass away and leave sorrow. So, the world's version of happiness is you've got the latest car. You spend lots of money on your cars, your home, your jewelry, your fine apparel. This is the world's happiness, and it fades. I've known people who have gone from making millions of dollars to being broke. And there's been people I've known who have said that all that stuff will not make you happy. There's no happiness in all that stuff. The happiness that so this is something me and my roommate have an argument about, and I quit arguing with him about it because he's convinced himself he's right. Money doesn't buy happiness. Never can, never will. You want to know what buys happiness? It's to a point that money can. Money helps us to meet our obligations, our debts, our bills. Knowing all those things and knowing you have a bean in your belly, a roof over your head, that is happiness. Then it brings freedom, knowing that these things are met. And having freedom, that's what brings happiness. Money brings freedom because you're meeting all your bills. And I always tell people, get out of debt. It's vitally important to avoid, and even the brethren tell us to avoid debt. Get out of debt. Being out of debt is one of the greatest things you'll ever feel. But the Lord's happiness, that's eternal. The Lord's happiness is making and keeping your covenants. It's attending church. It's attending the temple. That's what we all covenant to do when we partake of the sacrament. We promise to help those who need it. When we take the covenants in the temple, those are specific things. We need to follow those. Those are designed by God to bring true happiness. And I know as we will live the covenants that we make, as we continue to honor them, cherish them, read your scriptures every day. If you don't read them every day, you'll feel the difference spiritually. So let's avoid what happened to Jerusalem of old. Live simple lives. That's my goal. I want to raise enough money to get a homestead, be able to live on my own hands. All right, that's the video of the day. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you tomorrow morning for another scripture of the day. Till then, remember that I love you guys. I do pray for you. I hope that you guys are able to continue on the covenant path. And how do we keep on the covenant path? Think celestial. That's how it's done. All right, you guys have a wonderful weekend.